Alright, so Spider-Man Homecoming's out in theaters right now, and a ton of people are already pointing out what seems like a massive continuity error in the movie. After we see a pre-Vulture Adrian Toomes and his crew cleaning up the Chitauri mess from the Avengers, we cut to the main events of the movie with the title card reading 8 years later. And that's just been throwing a ton of people off. Like, what does that mean for Homecoming? Does that mean it takes place in 2020? And what does that mean for the rest of the MCU? Are things gonna get shifted around, or what? What's going on here? Well, the simplest explanation is that some of the dates and times in the movies just got retconned, but even I'll admit that's still a little confusing. It doesn't exactly specify where certain things go in the timeline. So with all that having been said, I figured I'd go through the entire MCU timeline and try to explain this new post-Homecoming timeline as simply as I can, using as many in-universe examples as I can to help back myself up. Now, I'll fully admit right from the get-go, this timeline's probably not going to be 100% accurate. I'm sure there's going to be some reference or some date I'll end up missing from one of the TV shows, on top of any other retcons Marvel might have done that I just forgot about, but that having been said, most of this is probably accurate enough. So all that having been said, let me try to explain my take on the post-Homecoming Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline. So the movies start off during World War II in 1942 with Captain America the First Avenger. This one's pretty obvious since, you know, the movies revolve around World War II and all that, except for the ending. We'll get back to that later. Anyways, Cap ends up disappearing in the Arctic in 1945. We can see that in the newspaper article Zola brings up in The Winter Soldier, where he'll take a capsicle nap for a few decades. And after that, we get the Agent Carter series starting in 1946. Skipping up to 2008, we see the events of Iron Man take place. And we know the movie takes place in 2008 because of this episode of Mad Money Pepper's watching. You see that date in the corner? It clearly dates at least this moment in the movie as being set on May 4th of 2008. Then we get a time jump of a few months to the end of the movie before we jump into 2009, where Iron Man 2, Thor, and the Incredible Hulk all play out around the same time in May. There's a couple scenes in Iron Man 2 that prove that Thor and Hulk happen around the same time.
Contrary to your belief, you are not the center of my universe.
Yeah,
I have bigger problems than you in the Southwest region to deal with.
On the campus of Culver University earlier today, sophomores Jack McGee and Jim Wilson witnessed some of the battle.
And we know it has to take place in May because Iron Man 2 takes place around Tony's birthday, which, according to his S.H.I.E.L.D. file, is on May 29th. The next year, in 2010, we see Cap discovered by S.H.I.E.L.D. and waking up from his icy coma. Not too long afterwards, the events of the Avengers takes place. And we know this because Nick Fury mentions at one point that Thor, the Warriors 3, Sif, and the Destroyer all arrived on Earth last year.
Last year, Earth had a visitor from another planet who had a grudge match that leveled a small town.
Christmas of 2013 kicks off Phase 2 with the events of Iron Man 3. This one's pretty easy to place, since there's a newspaper in the movie that has a date of December 23rd, 2013 on it. And by the way, no, the movie doesn't actually have a 6 months later line in it like a lot of people are saying. I've rewatched it twice, and I still can't find anything like that in this movie. It's probably a deleted line or something from one of the trailers I can't find or something like that. Then as we shift into 2014, we get the first 7 episodes of the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., some of which deal with humans enhanced by Extremis, which of course was introduced in Iron Man 3, followed by Thor the Dark World and the next 8 episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which have to go after the Dark World since the tie-in episode The Well specifically deals with the aftermath of that movie.
The epic adventure that began in Thor the Dark World continues in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Later in the year, we see the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D. during the events of Captain America the Winter Soldier and the last 5 episodes of the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Meanwhile, out in space, the events of both Guardians of the Galaxy and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 occur. The beginnings of both movies explicitly confirm that these movies take place in 2014, not to mention the fact that James Gunn himself also confirmed that Volume 2 took place in 2014, a few months after the events of the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Then in 2015, we get the first season of Daredevil, followed by the first 19 episodes of the second season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And as we saw in episode 19, the tip-off given by Coulson helps the Avengers track down Hydra.
I just sent you everything I found on Strucker's location. Time to bring in the Avengers.
Kickstarting the events of Avengers Age of Ultron. Soon after that, we get the next few episodes of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., followed by Ant-Man, the dropping of Sokovia as referenced by Hank.
Besides, they're probably too busy dropping cities out of the sky.
And the first season of Jessica Jones. It's mentioned by Trish in the episode aka Ladies Night that the accident with Kilgrave in the bus happened a year before the events of the show, and the episode aka Crush Syndrome showed that the accident took place in January of 2014. 2016 starts up with season 2 of Daredevil, followed by the first season of Luke Cage. Dates in the show make it seem like this show takes place around November, December of 2016. This is also around the time Doctor Strange starts up. Dates on his awards and watch put the movie in 2016, and Scott Derrickson, the movie's director, said that it lasts about a year. Then we get the first 19 episodes of the 3rd season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then in 2017, Captain America Civil War takes place, followed by the end of season 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then comes the first season of Iron Fist, which we know takes place in 2017 since Danny's been gone for like 15 years and has stuff like the first iPod, which came out in late 2001. Plus, Claire has a letter from Luke in prison, meaning that this would have to take place sometime after December of 2016. And after that, we get Spider-Man Homecoming in September. Yeah, I know there's a couple things in Civil War that put the movie in 2016, but Homecoming kind of retcons all that stuff with just one scene. After Peter uses his AI Karen to pull up information about Donald Glover's character, Aaron Davis, it's shown that Davis is 33 years old and that he was born in 1984. This means he'd be 33 by 2017, and on top of that, we already know from interviews and in-universe sources that Homecoming has to take place 2 months after Civil War. This also doesn't necessarily mess up the 8 years line from Vision in Civil War.
In the 8 years since Mr. Stark announced himself as Iron Man.
Or the 8 years title card in Homecoming, if you believe that Tony's press conference and the Battle of New York happened about 7.5 years before both movies, and you just round the time period out. Plus, we know Homecoming takes place in September because of some of these leaked out screenshots from the movie. You see that decathlon poster right there? It might be a little bit hard to see, but it says the academic decathlon, aka the reason why Spidey's in Washington, D.C., takes place in September. Then next year, in 2018, season 4 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. takes place, which we know since Homecoming happens 2 months after the Sokovia Accords went into effect, and the end of season 3 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. confirmed that Daisy robbing banks took place 6 months after that. This is then followed by the fight between Earth's superheroes and Thanos and the Black Order in Avengers Infinity War, which was confirmed by Kevin Feige to take place 4 years after Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which, as I said before, took place in 2014. And that's it. That's the Marvel Cinematic Universe we have right now. Hopefully when Marvel releases some of their new shows like Cloak and Dagger and New Warriors, that they'll fit in a bit more smoothly and won't rock the boat as much as Homecoming did. But anyways, guys, that's my take on this new MCU timeline post Spider-Man Homecoming. If you agreed with anything I've said in this video, then go ahead and let me know in the comments down below. And also don't forget to let me know if you have your own timeline or your own sequence of events, like maybe you found something that I didn't. Go ahead and also let me know down in the comments. Otherwise, I will see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, be sure to click that like button, maybe leave me a comment while you're at it, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to check out any of my social media pages. I've got a Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. All those links are going to be in the description below. And I've also got my last video right there in the middle of your screen. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and click it, check it out. Alright, and I will see you all next time.